Hey, here's a live recording of me trying to solve this problem. So feel free to pause the video now, think about how to solve the problem, and then resume when you're ready. Okay, hopefully you've taken a stab at the problem. This is how I would go about solving this. So the first thing I notice is this line, which says that a word's length will not exceed max width. So why is that important? It's important because if a word's length is close to max width, you can't fit it on that existing line. So let me note that down. A word may have to go into the next line if adding it causes the current line's length to exceed max width. Okay, that's my first observation. I also noticed that if you have, let's say, x words, you need x minus 1 spaces at least between them. So you're basically trying to grab as many words, so you're trying to maximize x such that x words length, so len, let's just say len of x words plus x minus 1 spaces is less than or equal to max width. Now once you have that, you basically need to say that the number of spaces in the line are max width minus len of x words. And now you'll have either, let's say, y or y plus 1 spaces between each word. And you can get that by dividing spaces in line by the number of words. So divided by x. Okay, so I think that should be enough to solve this problem. Let's look at the input. So there's a words list. Those are the words you need to fit in, and max width, which is the max width of each line. Okay, so let's look at the input as an example. So yeah, it's a words list, and then the max width, which is the maximum width of a line, and you need to basically give each line as output. So whenever you have y plus 1 spaces, as it says here, the empty slots on the left will be assigned more spaces. Okay, let's try solving this now. Let's start writing code. So I'll start off at I equals 0, and for I in range len words, so I'm basically going to go through all the words, and I'll need to add this to the current length. So let me make sure I initialize that variable. So curlen plus equals len of word. So maybe before I add it to curlen, I want to see if the word plus the current length is going to exceed max width, and if yes, it has to go on the next line. So if yes, I'll say, let's say, store line, and if not, I can just keep adding to words online. So words online dot append word. Let me initialize that as well. And in store line, once the line is stored, I'll set it to empty. I'll reset it basically, and I'll reset curl_len. And I'll need to pass in words online to store line and max width. And this will be what I'll append to my output. So output should be a list, and I want store line to return a list. So now let's try and write the function store line. So I'll use the same variable name words online and max width. The casing is weird because this is not really how I would case variables in Python. This is how I would do it in Python, but this is what Leetcode has given us, so we just got to work with that. Okay, so now we have the max width, and let's start by moving the comments to the right places. So let's go here first. So I just noticed I probably want to also add 1 each time I'm done adding a word. The interesting thing is, if you look here, I don't need to add a space if I'm at the end of a line. So let's see, how do I do it? So if len of word plus curl_len plus space_len, and space_len will be 1 if or doesn't have to be 1, I can always fit it on that line. So let me escape that, and what I'll instead do is, if it's not the first word, so if it's not the first word on the line, I'll need to add a space. So curl_len plus equals 1 if len of words on line is greater than 0, else 0. Does that make sense? So this should be 1, or I can move this here before I append two words on line. Okay, so that's done. Let's move these comments to the right places. Command square bracket to indent and dedent. Let's move this here. And this doesn't fit anywhere just yet. So let's go here. Let's say spaces in line equals max width minus all word len. And I can make a small optimization by pre-computing it and passing it in. Just going to copy paste this, set it to 0 here, and going to add it here. So it's only the length of all the words. I need to set it to 0 here as well. So those are the number of spaces in the line, and I need to divide them by the length of words on line. And since I want to get the ceiling of this, I can use ceil, but I can also write this in the following way. Okay, so that's going to be the maximum number of spaces. Or I can do this another way. I can say extra spaces remaining equals spaces in line by len words online. And what I'll do now, I'll basically keep appending words to the output. So for word in words online, output plus equals word, output okay, I just noticed one more case I might need to take care of. So I'll just note it down here. If space causes word to wrap. Okay, now going back here, so output plus equals word, and output plus equals so there should be spaces in line minus that into spaces in line, so that's the total number of spaces, and I have this, which is okay, so that should now be the leftover spaces. Okay, let me make sure that the spaces in line logic is correct. So if I have 3 words and 5 spaces, I have basically 2 slots for them to go into. So this should have a -1 in there. Okay, so that should be good. And let me also have a space between words min, which will be just this part. Okay, so now I have a word. I add the space between words min, those many spaces, and then I add another space if there are any spaces remaining, and I decrement the number of extra spaces remaining. Greater than 0, and here I return output. So this shouldn't say plus, it should, or rather it can say plus, but it should just be a string. And so here I append it, that's okay. Okay, so this looks fine. Now let's look at the cases for when a space may cause the word to wrap. So we need to really code this logic correctly. So if the length of the word plus current length is greater than max width, does that make sense? So current length includes all the words so far and all the spaces so far, but it does not include the space needed before this particular word. So let's add that. That should be, I think I've already coded this. Yeah, let's see here. So I just realized it's off screen. Yeah, let me put that under spacelen, and I can add it here, and I need to add it here. Yeah, that says if there's already one word on the line, then I need at least one space. So the word plus the current length plus a space should all fit. If it's greater than max width, then I need to move it to the next line. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I need to change. Okay, I think I'm ready to dry run this. Delete these ones and delete these. Okay, I don't need I equals 0. Okay, let's dry run. So I'm going to dry run with the provided example. Words on line starts off empty, output starts off empty, all word length starts off at 0. Word is equal to words of I, so now word is, before that I is 0, word is this. So am I using I anywhere here? Looks like I'm not, so I could just say for word in words. Then I don't need that, and yeah, word is this. Spacelen is going to be 0, and len of word is 4, curlen is 0, spacelen is 0. So 4 is not greater than max width. So we go here, here. So I just need to write 4 less than 16. Going here, curlen plus equals spacelen. So I'll make the update here. So curlen is still 0. Words online dot append. Okay, so I just noticed another mistake here. So I can't use spacelen here. I need to duplicate this. The reason why is because if we end up here and we are at the start of a new line, we don't want a space to be added. Okay, so moving on, curlen is already updated here. It's at 0. Words online is now this. Let's make it a list. And curlen, we add the length of words, so it's 4. All word len is going to be 4. Moving on to the next one. So now word is spacelen is going to be 1. 2, len of word is 2, plus 4, 6 plus 1, 7. 7 is less than 16, so it goes here. Curlen is going to have 1 added to it, so let's update this to 5. Words online is going to have is appended to it. Curlen is going to have the length of is appended to it, and all word len is going to have the length of is appended to it. So a good sanity check at this point is to see if this was the input if we would be at the right values right now. So you can see kernel n is 7, which is what we would expect this space is. Moving on, this becomes and now this is the first interesting case because we are coming up to this max width limit. So space len is 1, len of word is 2 plus kernel len is 7, 9 plus space len is 1. So that's 10. 10 is less than 16, so goes here again. And it stays at 1. We append it. We update kernel len. We update all word len. Okay, now let me just make sure I updated that right. Yes. Okay, now we are at this word example, which has 6 letters. So this is at 1. Len of word is 6 plus kernel len is 9, 15. 15 plus the space is 116. So this is 16. It is equal to the max width. So we don't enter this block, even though we would expect to. So let's check if our calculation is right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so that's 18 letters, which should be greater than max width. So did I do the addition wrong? Len of word is 3 plus 3 plus 1. Oh, it's 7. Okay, so it's 7 plus 9, 16 plus 1, 17. So okay, so we are at 17, and this is greater than what we would expect. Okay, let me do that calculation once again, because we were at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this should be at 10 actually. I must have updated it incorrectly earlier. Okay, and this pushes us to 18 here, and so we enter this. I can delete this comment, I think. Should have taken care of it. I can move it to this location. Okay, now line 26, store line, words online. So the words online is basically this is an example has not yet been added. Max width is 16, all word length is 8. So spaces in line is set to 16 minus all word length. That's 16 minus 8. That's 8. Extra spaces remaining is 8 minus 8 by 3 minus 1. So that's 2 into 2. So that's basically 8 minus 8, which is 0. Sorry, 8 minus 4, which is 4. So there are 4 extra spaces. Sorry, this is 8 minus 8, which is 0. I also noticed that we probably need a special condition here for if len of words on line equal to 0. in which case we have to return words online of 0 plus max space into max width minus all word length, padding it. Okay, so now space between words min is going to be spaces in line, which is 8 by, so this is not parenthesized correctly. You see, these dry runs are so useful. They catch all these bugs. So 8 by 2, giving us 4. Let's make sure that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, looks good. So now output becomes output plus word. So this output plus space into space between words means so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then output plus nothing because it's not greater than 0. Then we subtract 1, but we may not need to in this case, but it's fine, still works. And then is gets added, and then and we return that as the output. So this is an gets returned. Curlen plus equals 1 if len of words. Okay, sorry, so we are here in output, so now output is this 1, 2, 3, 4 is 1, 2, 3, 4 and in a list. Words online gets reset. Curlen equals 0, so it gets reset, and all word len is also reset. Now curlen is going to be 1 if len of words online is greater than 0, which it's not. So it should be 0, which is why we needed to rewrite this and we couldn't use space len. Now going on here, words online dot append word. So now words online gets set to example. Curlen plus equals len of word 7. All word len is also set to 7. Okay, at this point I'm just going to hit run and see if this works. Okay, I got an error saying store line is not defined, so I need to move it out of this class. I said it was a function, but I used it as a method. A method is defined on a class. A function lives outside a class. Okay, I'm getting an error. The error says can't multiply sequence by non-int of type float. Okay, this is because I'm using Python 3, and for integer division I need to do a double backslash, or sorry, forward slash. Oh, and this is the other mistake. This should have said 1, even though I called it out. I had it incorrectly in there. Okay. And now I see that my output is actually incorrect. Why might that be? So it says I have an extra space at the end of text and I don't have the word justification present. So let's see what could cause that to happen. Okay, so let's assume we are at the last word, and now we have len of word. So if we are at the last word, like justification, and let's say we haven't hit this, so that's one case we need to take care of. We need to add a call to output.append if words on, yeah, I'm guessing words online will always be non-zero. Is that true? Here, yeah, I think it is true. So I just can always do a call. And what else? So there was a space after text. So instead of example of text and the line ending, there was a space here. What could cause that? So this should not be present after the last word. So I should have got this during my dry run. And the way I can fix that is by saying do it till the last word, and then finally for the last word simply add it to output. Okay, I'm going to run this. Okay, and I'm still getting it wrong because of this, and to be honest, this is not what I expect to see. So let me see this explanation. Okay, so it says for the last line it should be left justified and no extra space is inserted between words. That's interesting. It's interesting because it kind of completely screws up what we've done so far by introducing an exceptional case for the last line. So how do we determine if we are on the last line? So this is always going to be the last line. So I can just say, just for the sake of speed, I'm just going to copy paste this and say store line last, and that's just going to return and that should take care of the last line. Let's run it. Okay, I'm still getting an error. I'm trying to see what the error is. Not obvious to me just yet. Okay, looks like I have an extra space. Okay, and that is because this should be this into max width minus all word length minus the spaces already used, and there's going to be len of words online -1, so +1 spaces. Let's run it and work for the example test cases, and let's submit it. Okay, it worked. Hope that helped.